So, do school grades really matter in life? Does it really matter whether you get an A plus, an A C, or a D? Is that going to affect you 10 years later? Are you going to be unsuccessful if you got bad grades? Is it a ticket to success if you only got A pluses? Do grades in school define your life? Well, the answer is yes and no. Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Shivan and I'm a 5th year medical student studying at King's College London. And I make videos about medical school and university. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel yet, go check it out. I make some vlogs, some videos with advice about medical school and university, some videos about lifestyle and travel as well. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then go check it out. And if you enjoy it, smash that subscribe button. So coming to the big question of, do grades really affect your life? I think it's something we all wonder about when we're at that age, when we're in school, working so hard, thinking that extra hard work that'll get me a better grade, it'll set me up for the rest of my life. The more I study, the better I do, the better off I'll fare against the people who didn't do as well. Alternatively, if you're struggling and not doing well, you think that your life is messed up and that you're going to have a much harder time in life than everybody else. Now, I won't lie, there is some truth to that, but it's not all true. And to clearly answer this question of do grades really matter, I'm going to answer a set of 5 key questions. Question 1, what do you really want to do in life? And do you have a purpose? So, of course, high school is too early for some people to tell whether they have any idea about what they want to do in life, although it's the time in life that you start thinking about what you want to do. And the impact that grades have on your future really depends on the career that you choose. So if you choose a professional career, if you choose to be a lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant, then grades are going to have a lot of importance in your life. These different branches, they're sort of run by institutions and they involve a lot of exams. So to really understand who the best candidates are to be qualified in these different professions, they have to test you. And the best way to do that is through exams, and therefore your grades do matter. Alternatively, are you interested in going into something entrepreneurial or creative or something even artistic? Well, in this case, grades may not matter as much. Firstly, if you're going into something creative or artistic, maybe your passion and your knowledge and the time you've actually spent on that particular subject or that particular field matters a lot more. Whether it's photography, whether it's fine art, whether it's music or something else. If you're going into something entrepreneurial, well, grades can and cannot matter here as well. What does matter a lot here is some soft skills that we don't really consider that often. Things like your communication skills, your ability to work in a team, your ability to manage people, and how good you are as a leader. And there's a sort of business mindset that comes into it as well that can't be tested by exams or can't be taught in school. Another thing that I didn't mention is real life experience. In something entrepreneurial, that's very, very important. And if you're going into a completely alternate sort of career, like something like becoming an athlete, then, well, grades don't really matter at all. But at the same time, if you're going into such a niche career or such a narrow sort of career where the career opportunities are really limited, and if you want to achieve success, it's an extremely competitive environment. So it's always good to have something to rely on. It's a great privilege to be able to say that you shouldn't have a plan B. I disagree with that statement. I think that you should always have a plan B so you're never left stranded in life. Question number 2, have you given it your all? So not getting good grades is not the end of the world, but if you've done it due to lack of effort, well, then it's not really the best indicator of how your future is going to turn out. Because there are alternative methods to achieving success other than getting good grades. But I promise you that none of them are going to be easier than getting those grades and doing well in your exams. So, if you've not tried to do well in your exams and you've done badly and you've gotten poor grades because of this, then again, that's an indicator that you probably won't succeed in other things that you're trying to pursue. If you have given it your all, and maybe it's not worked out the way you wanted it to, well, then we can think of 2 things. Either you're taking the wrong approach to it, or 2, maybe this is not your field of, or this is not your strength. For some people, giving exams is not their strength. For some people, school and getting good grades is not their strength. Sometimes you're not great at history, you're not great at maths. That doesn't mean you don't have any capabilities that can make you a super successful person. You absolutely can still become successful. Then it becomes about figuring out what your strengths are, narrowing down on those, and really honing them and pursuing something in which your strengths are really utilized. Question 3 is, when do grades matter? So we outlined one situation, and that's when you're going into a professional career. But really the answer is to get you to the next stage in life. Grades always only hold importance till you complete the process of getting to the next stage in life. For example, going from middle school to high school, maybe you have to give an exam or a test for that. Then going from high school to college or university, maybe you have to give some exams, get good grades, get to university. Does anyone really look at your high school grades after that? Not really, no. Few things do have a lasting impact. For example, where you've studied for university. The reputation of your university may matter, and that may depend on your grades. Even if you're going into something like entrepreneurship or you want to start something of your own, the university you go to can almost serve as a stamp of validity that yes, this person is somebody I can put my trust in, this person is probably doing something reliable. But again, that's just an added bonus if you're going into something like that. In general, grades are important to get you to the next stage of life. So, if you reach the next stage of life, don't worry about your grades anymore, because you've reached the next stage. Now your previous grades are unimportant. You have to focus on the next thing. And if you haven't reached that next stage yet and you're still figuring out, don't worry, because you only have one step to figure out. These grades are not going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Number 4, should grades define who you are? And I see a lot of people, especially in high school, struggling with that. Thinking that they got poor grades, so they're stupid or they're dumb or they're incapable. That is definitely the wrong way of looking at it. Are grades correlated with success? Yes. You hear all these people saying that, oh, F students do the best in life because they're too smart for school and all that. And, the really smart people, they don't give their attention to school. That's not true. If you look at most of the billionaires, most successful billionaires, Jeff Bezos went to Princeton, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg went to Harvard, Elon Musk studied at Wharton Business School,
Larry Ellison went to UChicago, Larry Page and Mukesh Ambani went to Stanford, Warren Buffett went to Columbia, the list goes on.
All the smartest and most successful people in the world have really studied at the best universities at the world, which would have required them to score really well in their exams. So there is a correlation. But is it necessarily causation? These people are probably successful not just because they were able to get good grades, but for many reasons. Probably also because they were hardworking, they were risk takers, and they were business-minded people, creative with the drive to create something. If you look at it from another perspective, there are people like Richard Branson who dropped out of school at 16 to start his first business, and as you know, he's a billionaire today, the founder of Virgin. And there are other successful people, of course, like Simon Cowell, who barely passed any exams at school, and then you have Jon Snow, an incredibly successful TV journalist in the UK, who again struggled in school. And that leads me to the last and probably the most important question. How do you overcome bad grades? Firstly, if you're pursuing something in which grades are important, or getting to that next stage is really important to you, and you feel like you've not given it your all, or you could take a different approach, consider retaking or trying again. Maybe sometimes the first try didn't work out for XYZ reasons. So try again. There's no shame in it, and nobody's going to question why you retook an exam or redid a year or something like that 5 to 10 years down the line. What you do afterwards is what will define you. So the second thing to consider, is there an alternative path to get to where you want to get to? So again, this is considering that you want to get to a place where grades are really important. You want to become a doctor, for example. Maybe you didn't get the grades it takes to go to your desired medical school. What do? Firstly, you can consider doing something like an undergraduate degree and applying for something like biomedical science, biological sciences, and then doing medicine afterwards. There's nothing wrong with taking those extra 3 years to maybe strengthen your knowledge that you need to apply for medicine and to get in on the next try. That's completely okay. So that's an alternative way you can get in and steer around not ideal grades that you got. Or if you want to get into a certain university for a certain course somewhere and you didn't get in, maybe you can still pursue the same career by applying to a different university. Or if you want to study abroad and work abroad, maybe you didn't get into that university in that country you want to go to. So maybe study in the country that you're in if you can get in there, and then apply to that other country for postgrad or apply there for a job. There's always another way. There's never a single path to anything in life, and you can always work around. The third thing you can do is consider changing your pathway. Sometimes we just have to accept that maybe a certain path or a certain career isn't right for us. Even though it may seem interesting, maybe we're not built for that particular thing. That doesn't mean we're not built for anything, we're not built for success. Again, I have to keep reminding you of this because it's very important. For example, if you can't get into law, maybe try being a paralegal. If you can't get into medicine, look at something like nursing or pharmacy. Consider pursuing a science-based career like biomedical sciences, for example. Trust me, there's no career in which you can't achieve success. Maybe it's more likely in certain careers, maybe it's more common, but if you know you're a hardworking person, you know that you'll be passionate about something, then you can definitely do well in that field, no matter what it is. And the fourth, and again, possibly the most important thing, is accepting it. Accepting your circumstances will get you the furthest. If you get a set of bad grades, if you don't do so well in a set of exams, accepting it and moving on rather than dwelling on your current circumstances will help you the most. Because as soon as you accept it and you move on, you start looking for solutions, or you start looking for another way forward, and eventually something works out for you. So accept your circumstances, don't criticize yourself for it, don't accept anyone else's criticism unless you know that you've done something in particular that's wrong or you could have done something differently. Again, don't give yourself shit for it. Just pinpoint the issue, the problem, the barrier, work around it, or try and break that barrier down and go forward. So study, work hard, decide who you want to be, what you want to be, what you want to do in life, and start working towards it. There'll be hurdles, challenges, whether they come in the form of bad grades or something else. But if you approach it with the right mindset, you can always get ahead. Grades definitely don't define you as the person you are. They are a component in the sort of journey to success or the handbook to success, but they're not an absolutely essential cog. If you don't have that little thing of good grades in your arsenal, maybe you'll have to face a couple of more challenges, but that doesn't mean you can't get where you eventually want to be. Too many people in today's day define themselves by their grades, and that's not good. The truth of our current world is that it's a very competitive environment. Many institutions, many schools, many universities, they have to become very strict on the grades to thin the herds. If you look at, so I'm from India, so I'll take this example for you. If you look at universities like St. Stephen's or SRCC in Delhi, the entry requirements for many courses are 98 or 99%. That is ridiculous. It doesn't take more than a slight error to get less than 99%. If you got 97% or 95%, does that really mean you're incapable? No, that just means that the university is facing so much demand that they have to thin the herd somehow. And they're doing it by increasing the entry requirements. It's the truth of our world. But always try and figure a way out. If you are confident in your own capabilities, you'll find a solution. So this video was a bit philosophical, a bit practical, but I hope it helped you out and gave you a good perspective of how to look at your school grades, your college grades, etc. If you enjoyed it and you found it useful, be sure to drop a like down below on the video and to subscribe and check out my other videos as well. And with that, I will see you in the next one.